Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing well. Now, if you recall, quite some time ago, I used to do these videos about people who defended themselves with the Second Amendment. And I think it's important to highlight how much good is done by people defending themselves with a firearm when the media only covers the negative so that they can disarm us and spread the uniparty agenda upon the American population. And so in order to cut through their propaganda, I like to cover positive news stories of people utilizing their Second Amendment rights. Islam does not say that a woman or a man has no right to tools of self-defense. And if you are a guardian of your husband's property, I think it's your right to be able to own a firearm to protect your home from criminals who do a lot of home invasions. And I don't think it's masculine for a woman to know how to use a firearm so that she can defend her children from being killed by thugs while her husband's at work. And if you live in a safe community, good for you, but many in the world don't. And many don't in America, as we shall see. Now, this is an older issue. It's from August 2022. I have all of the things stacked up, and I've gone really behind on it, so I want to catch up. So if it looks kind of funny, the thumbnail, the date, that's why, because I want to have it archived in order, each one. Okay, here we go. In a normally quiet southeast Houston neighborhood around midnight on April 12th, an elderly woman was at home alone when she heard a knock on her door. The person knocking was male, dressed in scrubs, pretending to be a healthcare worker. So what is that? This person is wearing medical uniforms to scam old people, right? The 65-year-old homeowner refused to open the door and called her son, who fortunately lived nearby. Just after the invader abandoned his ruse and busted through the front door, the woman's son arrived, shot him, and ultimately killed him. The armed citizen was not expected to face charges. Fox 26 Houston. So, what I liked about this one was it showed the cleverness. Somebody went and put on medical scrubs to be more convincing. And having somebody who's 65 years old alone, I mean, it can be quite intimidating, can it? Now, the son living by was good, thank Allah. And they knew exactly what to do. And that criminal was sent back to Allah. Alhamdulillah. We have another one here. On the night of April 17th, as a resident returned to his home and was trying to unlock his door, he was approached by two men impersonating police officers, with one of the suspects displaying a fake police badge around his neck. So notice this one too as well, another impersonator, a fake police badge. Imagine. What's scary about that one is if it's a real police officer and you think it's fake, you don't answer, you have some problems, depending on the local laws. Here you had someone who was so sick and sinister that they're literally impersonating a police officer. The two unknown and armed men forced the man to go into the dwelling and demanded money. The men allegedly tied the homeowner's hands with zip ties while threatening to kill him, according to an inspector. The 25-year-old victim, a licensed carry holder fearing for his life, was able to free his hands and to get the firearm in his pocket. He fired multiple shots at the suspects, hitting one of them 3 times. The second suspect ran from the scene, and police were still looking for him. The injured suspect was taken to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead, and no charges have been filed, and that happened in Philadelphia. And so, pretty freaky how somebody was able to do that. He got his hands free and he was able to reach for his firearm. A very harrowing story. A burglary spree on April 20th ended with a twist when the Santa Rosa County Sheriff offered shooting classes to a victim. The day started with multiple break-ins at Pace Flay neighborhood. The sheriff's office started getting calls and reports of a suspicious person and then of shots fired. During one of the alleged break-ins, the homeowner fired multiple shots at the suspect, but did not strike him. About 20 officers arrived, some with their canines, cornering the suspect in a different home that he had previously burglarized that day. After attempting to barricade himself in the bedroom, he jumped headfirst out of the window, but was captured and arrested. According to Sheriff Bob Johnson, the suspect's first police interaction was at 13 years old, and since then has been arrested around 17 times. And so he was actually sent to prison often. So often. He was really just a degenerate criminal. And there will be no charges brought against the person who shot at the suspect. And the funny part is that the sheriff suggested that he take more classes and be able to save the taxpayer money, which is pretty funny. And the last one here is, in the early morning hours of April 22nd, Geneva County emergency responders were alerted to a home break-in and shooting. The homeowner said he was awakened by sounds coming from his back door area. After arming himself, he went to investigate and found a man allegedly attempting to burglarize the home. The suspect was told to leave but did not comply. He instead attempted to fight with the homeowner, who was armed with a handgun, and shot the criminal twice, in the leg and abdomen. He was taken to a nearby medical center where he was listed in stable condition. Upon release from the hospital, he was to be charged with home invasion. No charges were expected to be filed against the homeowner. So again, this homeowner had the unfortunate experience of having a burglar come in, right? So even if you live in a nice neighborhood, burglars see that, they're like, hey, we want in. So when people say to me online with their idiocy, well, a man can just be there and protect his woman, that's great. But as we see, burglars do come. And if someone trains and someone learns and perfects themselves with a professional, right, they actually learn what to do and educate themselves, most people could be quite competent. And it's also important for the husbands to learn, because it could happen in the middle of the night when he's home. So we see here in this issue that people really, they have to know that the world is a very violent and dangerous place. You can be responsible, you can be prepared, and that's a lot better for you. And so hopefully you hear these stories and you think to yourself about joining a local gun club, learning your local laws, exercising your Second Amendment rights. You can do all kinds of stuff, to educate yourself. And I really appreciate that America allows men and women to defend themselves against the depraved. If you'd like to join my blog, it's www.subscribestar.com/MilahanArchive. Hope to see you there.